Are we still good?
Good here, man.
All right. Sweet. All right. Welcome, everybody. Now, this is the actual beginning. So, I'm just saying, this is probably mostly like a me and you chat. I like short notice invited some people from my school community.
So
Probably not, I don't know. I'm like just refining my approach to really getting all of that smoothed out and having enough people in there to actually get some of these people in there when they're interested. But either way, I thought this was a good opportunity to do a little kind of like hangout chat podcast.
for sure.
I'm seeing you over here, but my camera's over here. So
Yeah.
I don't
I'm-
know. I'll work that out. That's always strange having. I want to look at you, but then
That's fine, man. Either way, good.
yeah, it's a
Good.
thing. But I figure some of what we might chat about is because most people approach dissolve, other than like the few people we might know who are previously into Tai Chi or internal arts, or they have some sort of practice, and dissolve kind of gives them it distills what they've practiced, or it brings everything into focus in a way and lets them really solidify their foundation or their approach to some things they might practice. A lot of people are coming at it from nowhere, or from like they've done a little yoga or some somatic practices or tried to figure out meditation. And other than the always refining, like I'm always refining the way that I communicate what dissolve is and like communicating what I do. This is either to people who are like clients or other practitioners. They're looking for like I'm looking to explain it in a simple way, and it is simple. But there's always that part of me that I'm like, am I explaining how deep and profound this this actually is?
That's
Because
the hard part, isn't it?
it's a challenge because
Yeah,
there's a simplicity to it,
yeah,
and then there's people's either their bias, their perceptual filter, their preconceived notions, where you say something like letting go, and they're just like, oh yeah, just like letting, oh yeah, like whatever,
yeah,
whatever they might think about that, or they take it in through their lens of, oh, I've done a body scan before, or I've done some yoga nidra, or oh yeah, like I can like relax a muscle a bit or something. And there's that profound implication of the principle that we're embodying of release, where the word doesn't cut it, the explanation like doesn't cut it. And
yeah,
so I thought that it might be fruitful or interesting to talk from some people's some experienced folks perspective of not just entering the practice and like trying to figure it out. Figuring it out is its own interesting thing. I think Andy once said it's like finding the edge of the clear sticky tape. Like when you don't know the quality of release, you're just like, oh yeah, like relax some muscles, or like I'm just gonna, slow down my breathing or slow down my movement, but you haven't got it yet. And then when you find it, you're like, whoa, or like it's like undoing a knot. It's like at first you're just like playing around with the laces or like whatever. You're like, oh, if I pull on the string, but you really gotta tease that knot. And that's kind of the investigation of that quality of release, the body opening process, which some people might really need to a greater or lesser extent in order for it to, whoa, really hit them. Or, the time spent really just approaching it and like teasing that knot, finding that the edge of that sticky tape where then you go, and it unravels,
yeah,
and you find that unbinding,
yeah,
which then once you find it, there are layers to that. You find it a bit in the body to make it tangible, make it real for yourself. Like, oh, let's open my shoulders and get these tissues opened up and elasticate the fascia and everything, just so that when you find the deeper layers of it, it feeds back into your whole system. So when we're talking about this quality of release, there's that simple entry point and the foundational practice that gets you there, and then there's this rabbit hole, and that's where the profound, like the deep peace and the profound joy and the bliss comes from, which is what we always want to share with people. And
Yeah.
there's that, and there's the interesting dynamic, I think, of sharing it, one, through body work, which I find is like so magical, and it's much easier in a way once you have the skill, because you're just like, hey, there, this is it. And there's
Yeah.
no explaining it, no real guiding through. It's just, we're gonna release. Yeah, there it is. Got it. And then it really, you're just kind of nudging someone into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Very interesting, I've found, to guide someone, or introduce the nuances of training that get them into that process, like from a distance on a call or something, which is, oh, so interesting.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's important, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I think a lot of the profundity, um, comes, at least for me, when it started to come when I noticed that it was the release of the mind that was releasing the body. And
Mhm,
when that kind of, I mean, I had heard that before, right? Like everybody's heard that, everybody hears that in internal arts, but when I finally noticed it, that was when, it was like, holy crap, this is big. I mean, this goes deep and it's endless. So, when if you can release the mind endlessly, just like imagine how far you can take that, like it, it's
mhm.
it's beyond profound. I mean,
Yeah,
it's something.
yeah,
If you
it's
let
amazing.
it take you there, it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm still a
and
beginner on the path, but even for me, like total change in perspective for everything. So yeah,
yeah, and that's the thing about Dissolve, it's like we're not so much obsessed with this, like, "Oh, I'm just a beginner," or "I'm super adva," because all that, once you can taste it, you experienced it, all that sort of falls away. You're like, I'm in it."
yeah,
And I can notice so tangibly if I get pushed out of it, and all of a sudden, like, oh, my thinking's askew, and I'm holding some contraction, and you're like, oh, oh, and then immediately you're loop right back into it, and you're like, oh, that's better. Wow.
yeah. I mean, it's just awesome. It's like, the more these things are, you don't go looking for specific things, specific actions. Like you don't go looking for, I don't know, this thought causes this emotion, which causes this area to contract. You don't go looking for that stuff, but you can, eventually start to notice these kind of really cool connections and how the mind, body, chi, it's all integrated to a level that, you'll just get more and more experiences of it. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
Something I've really enjoyed is the quality of. Usually, I use the word like self organization, like how there is, especially once the body is open, like you've done some of the body opening work, so that sometimes it's like people kind of got to warm up the clay of the body. You have to become plastic, become malleable a little bit for that release of the mind to reflect on the body. And really, all the laying of the foundation is the most important part, is finding that quality of release in the body just enough that you can notice that the mind releases as well. To be able to release the body, the mind has to have let go as well. And that you're noticing in the mind, in the attention, the awareness itself, well, this is happening. And then that awareness can shift into that place, the knowing quality, right? Where you're stepping back, you're stepping back, you're stepping back, and
you
all
see
of a
the
sudden,
reality of it. Like you see the actual reality of what these things that have been bugging you are, and
mhm, mhm,
start to, I love how uh, we put it as finding, we try to find the center of something, right? We try to find the
mhm.
actual center of it, and after a while, you realize you can't, and
Yeah,
it's not even like, and that comes with a realization that it was never real to begin with, and it's just you
yeah.
just let it go. I mean, the
But that,
awareness, the clarity.
yeah, the quality of penetrating and seeing that in and of itself, to where the essence of something, it's like you think there's something there. The mind goes, oh, this thing, like this this pain or this sensation, this emotion, this, and then as soon as you see clearly,
Yeah.
there is
Yeah, it goes
nothing
to
to hold.
a little delay. Sorry.
Yeah, all
But
good. And then the mind is so spacious. You see the true nature. That's that quality of emptiness, right? Everyone's a lot of weird conversations around emptiness, and
conversations for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. A lot of weird tangents people can go on, but the
Yeah.
experience of that and how it reflects upon the body, how, again, that quality of self organization, that touching that, all of a sudden, all the things you could try to fix, all the things like, oh, tinker with your psychology and try to do emotional releases and try to do this cathartic process and like even like again that working with the body helps a lot. Like if you can get someone skilled at body work, it helps your body soften, it softens the clay, right? And that can be helpful just to be able to get you onto the path, like stepping closer to that. But once you touch that release of the mind and how, oh, I don't know, there's this I wish that I could explain in a way that made more sense. There's probably something, but that quality of self-organization, if you have ever seen like the little like floaters in your eye or something when you're like looking around or something, how you look one way and everything shifts with that and aligns with that. It's a weird way to explain that in the moment. That's just like what popped into my head.
Yeah.
But there's this, maybe you can call it like the underlying fractal nature of reality, or the, depending on your background, it's the regulation of the nervous system, or it's the intelligence of the chi or the prana that underlies it. It's that quality of life, that energy isn't just like something you mess around with. It is the quality of the life moving through your system. And that when you release your grip, your unconscious chokehold on it, you notice that in the background, in every moment of your life, you've been acting from like, all right, body, do it. Or like, all right, energy, do it. Mind. And then all of a sudden things blossom,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
chi has it has more intelligence than we do with a lot of things, like if you can chi or the energy or whatever. Um that's why, like the release the it can guide you. So like where the awareness goes in the body after a while is where it just needs to be there. You release that area, it goes, maybe that area releases, the awareness just goes to another area. And you can just the E and the chi kind of become one in a way. Sorry, the
Mhm.
awareness and the energy.
Yeah.
They become one in a way. And just in case
Yeah.
people aren't in that background.
Be illiterate.
Yeah. But those two things become one. They start to happen at the same time, sort of.
Mhm. Mm.
And That's just the intelligence of everything. And the E, chi, and yeah, and the just the release is it becomes one thing after a while. And at that point, uh, the integration into the system through how, like, the simplicity of it, just the little, it just becomes something you do without thinking about it, and that's something that becomes incredibly profound too. And also,
Mhm.
it carries into the mind as well. So all these things that we, torture ourselves with, all these thoughts, the things we're trying to direct, the things that, it's just we stop resisting, and life just becomes kind of beautiful, like a game. It's like a playful thing.
Mhm.
That's just some of the things that I think, for
Yeah.
sure, for the
Yeah,
profundity.
there's this, it always becomes paradoxical to talk about it, and that's why we're just, like, messing around with language here for something that
Oh,
is, like, totally ineffable, so
oh,
that's, like,
yeah.
the whole weirdness of this is that, oh, man, like, putting it into words, trying to explain the depth of it to people because you're moving, after you've got your foundations laid and you're moving deeper into the practice, you're moving into something that is just so deep that sometimes I talk about when someone's really beginning to get it, that what you're moving towards, the experience you're moving towards, is that whatever your awareness touches, oh, it's Lydia, someone joining in.
Oh,
Hey, Lydia, you can join in or not, or just listen, whatever. We're just chatting about advanced dissolve stuff. But yeah, whatever your awareness touches releases your mind is not clinging anymore, which is kind of like the perceptual lens, the thing you're always looking through. You're looking through this like contracted or distorted lens at the body or at your thoughts or at life in general. And and dissolve, the practical way of applying this, even though again it seems all these little simple things blow out and become so profound the more you practice, like softening the eyes. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I can relax my eyes a little bit, cool. But
That one
it's
gets
like if you let your mind just go, oh, that's all, that's it, or like I'm just relaxing a little bit, then you're trying to soften, again trying to apply effort, to softening your eyes. So it's like you're on the surface of the ocean and you're looking at the waves of tension or whatever around your eyes, and it's like if your muscles are real tense and you just go like that. You're like, yeah, that's better. My shoulders could be tense and then I'm better, but I'm still not releasing. I've relaxed that surface level contraction, but I'm not releasing. Your mind is making the mistake, which is there's such a thin line between thinking you've released, like considering that surface level muscular contraction of release, to really moving into that harmony, that coherence, that self-organizing quality by investigating, applying that clear, still awareness, and being eternally in this process, that rabbit hole again of releasing. Not having considered, I'm going to release this thing. Like it's that is not just a thing happening. It is ongoing. It is an ongoing process. There is release occurring continually, and you're absorbing into it, and the mind is releasing, the body's releasing, chi is organizing, and that feedback loop causes this absorption where you are continually, and it's triggered by that mudita, right? As soon as you're finding the release, oh, so good, and the mind goes bloop, and the heart goes whoomp, and the
opens
chi
up.
goes woo, and you just start going down that rabbit hole to where, for one, start blissing out and like
Yeah.
forgetting how to speak real quickly.
Yeah.
But it
I'm pretty
goes
blissed
from,
now, man. Like I was
yeah, I know,
practicing
just
before
like
this.
just talking about it, just like,
Yeah, no, I was practicing a bit before this too, and
yeah,
yeah, forgetting how to talk for sure. It's a thing, man.
definitely. Oh man,
Right.
it's a challenge making content around this. It's like, all right, like putting the things into words that are totally ineffable, like making something into like, okay, let's apply this mechanism, and then like I'm gonna directly lead you out of the mechanism, like into something that is just this quality that is arising, this thing arising from emptiness, right? And so trying to move someone kind of through a linear process of applying the foundations to that point where you see them get it and you're like, okay, like
Yeah.
just I'm just going to shove you into the ocean. And again, it's that in that metaphor of the surface of the ocean, you've sunk beneath the surface
Yeah.
at that point, right? And you're just like letting yourself sink
Yeah.
deeper, 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 deeper until that pressure builds. And I think we've talked about in the past at some point about once you can get into that process and you've guided yourself and allowed that process to unfold enough and the body's open enough, it's like there's a deeper level of surrender that can occur to where it's like, okay, mind and body's releasing, energy, chi, whatever is organizing, doing its thing,
Yep.
fullness is rising. And then within that fullness, you're like, and you can
Yep.
like flick a switch almost
Yep.
to where it goes from like fullness to radiance to
Yep.
from I'm releasing, this is so nice too.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Yeah, and just think all the way. It's indescribable for sure.
It is indescribable. And the only metaphor or analogy I sometimes try to apply to it I think in my school community, there's a little talk about going inwards where I describe the bullseye. I'm not sure where I don't even know the material because it's been a while since I've reviewed some of the coursework that might chat about it. But Andy describes like this bullseye of, okay, like there's all these layers that we accumulate. And at the very core of our being, there's something that's constant. There's something that is the truth, you know, whether you want to start using words to apply, oh, my soul, the spirit, you know, there's layers to that even. But when we empty out all the way, you know, pure yin, whatever you want to call it, and when there's a spark at our core, right? That divinity or whatever.
Yeah.
And it goes from utilizing that principle, that sort of mechanic of release and investigating that till you're down from like people usually live on the surface, right? Like level 10 of living in stress, totally contracted, distorted perceptual lenses. And each layer you release, there's less and less distortion, less and less contraction, more and more release, more and more ease, peace. Everything starts to self organize at deeper and deeper layers. And when you touch that center, bam, there's just like this, like your sense of the body has pretty much completely dissolved at that point.
Yeah.
And that's when people might start to use energetic terms or like, whoa, light
Yeah.
body or
I
something
mean,
like that.
that's the thing though too, is like a lot of this can sound like psychology to people that it can sound like a lot of it can sound pretty psychological to people that haven't had this experience, you know, haven't
From the surface, from the outside lens, right?
exactly. And you know, that's one of the challenges too. And you know, that's one of the biggest benefits of, you know, having a dissolve session with somebody, you know. It's just a privilege to be able to show people how to start to begin to do this process for themselves. I mean, you give them, you know, you give them their treatment and then you get to show them something, right? And you get to
Yeah.
show them something during it and you know, some of those people will just they'll they'll start to get somewhere too, and it's a
Yeah.
joy. It's a
Yeah.
joy to read it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. At the very least, you are lending someone the ability to have a deep relief from their suffering for those moments. Like at the very least, you know, for that session, they are dipping under the surface a little from where everything is held together. You know, they're just holding on for dear life, you know, and in their daily life, which is, you know, that's where a lot of people live from, is just on edge all the time. And then taking that edge off is profound in and of itself. But
Yep.
then being able to cue them into, oh, see what we're doing here? Notice what's happening there? And then if they can begin to sink, and it's maybe it's, you know, sometimes it seems like 1 in 10 people, maybe it's half the people, maybe it's 8 out of 10 people, depending on how you're practicing, who you're interacting with, and what their background is, and how they're interacting with their body. And maybe you could say how dysregulated their nervous system is, how busy their mind is, because it can take a little time to explore the surface layers and to get their body, you know, out of. I find it super challenging with like the spiritual folks. This is why, Lydia, if you're tuning in here, this is part of the reason she's tuning in. I believe she's interested about spiritual, like the spiritual development, of course. And she, you know, she's exploring the Christian tradition and all of that
Cool.
stuff, and
Awesome. Yeah.
good stuff. But she's been one of those folks who's interacted with the yoga stuff and whatever in the past, and just been like, like the whole Kundalini yoga thing, and things that really blow you apart, sort of, or overstimulate you. Sometimes, if I were to like pick on anyone or kind of throw stones through any of my content, it's like, careful with Wim Hof.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe be careful with Kundalini yoga and all the heavy breathing and the contrived energetic things and the super controlled breath work.
Yeah. I mean, from experience, man, you know about this with me. I mean,
Ooh.
I made myself very sick. Uh,
Mhm.
like from that practice, long
Mhm.
time ago. But I made myself quite sick. Uh,
Yeah,
you know, the nervous system, just constant fight or flight. I got sick all the time. It was, yeah. It can be, just be careful. It's,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I commend people who explore those things with like a strong constitution, and they're like, oh, like cold, ice baths and like Wim Hof and like woo woo woo, climb a mountain with no clothes on or something. And it's like cool if you want to explore those things or get to know how they work or push yourself and have lots of willpower, I really got no problem with it. But then when it's shared as like some generic sort of cure all for like, no, everyone should do this, and like it's really oversimplified how the effect of it is, it kind of is weird how like there's science behind it too, and it's like oh, like it works on this part, and the adrenals do this, and it's like of course it works,
Yeah,
but that's
temporarily.
why, yeah,
That's
exactly.
the issue, right?
You're, I think I explained it on a call with Lydia once. It's like, burning the candle from both ends and then throwing gasoline on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, there's fire, and it's burning you out real quick, right?
yeah. And the other thing that I love about dissolve and just release is that that doesn't happen, and it actually you integrate rather than it becomes just what happens within you rather than you
Mhm.
doing these forceful things that you need to just do. This practice, these things just go deeper and deeper because your starting position, where you start for your practice, becomes deeper and deeper as well. If that makes any
Mhm.
sense. So,
Yeah,
with
I
integration, uh,
yeah, yeah.
it's just with release, you can integrate with those things. Kind of hard to do, you know.
Yeah, you're always doing the thing. You're doing the breath work, you're doing the practice. It's an external mechanism almost. Like you have to rely on, I think again, like I've used the analogy of it's like the smoking crack of like spiritual practice or like of breath work. It's like you
Yeah.
always need a hit, you always need that thing. Whereas to release, it's just you're
Ah,
not you're not
yeah,
adding a layer. You're letting go of other things you have been holding on to. It's not necessarily a method or a technique. There's tools in the toolbox we use to create a good foundation or to investigate release, like in dissolve yoga. We use these shapes of the body, these postures to, okay, when I slide the bones of the arms away, what happens? Or for one, my arms are super released. But like two, my mind just released.
yeah,
And at first you might need a lot of different postures or a lot of different, doing lots, but eventually, like when I just did that,
yeah,
my mind just releases.
yeah,
And then I don't even need to do that. Then I'm just mind releases.
yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
it's just
oh, sorry. Go
release.
ahead.
Oh yeah, all good.
Yeah, no, I mean like, uh, yeah, like you said, you don't even need to do it. You can just have you can just listen to the body and you realize it's already doing it. You're just doing nothing and it's just already happening.
Yeah, aware,
That's
you
the
already
integration.
are aware. That's that whole
Yeah,
listening skill, right? Is realizing. And again, the whole Taoist thing of wu wei, wei to wu wei, doing to non doing, action, non action, effortless effort, all of these paradoxes, right? All of those things are about that spectrum of awareness from intent to attention to awareness. You don't need to do anything to be aware. You're simply letting go of excess intention, letting go of the clinging, the contriving. You're stopping doing the thing, stopping the you doing the thing, and recognizing that consistently underneath that, you are constantly aware. You were just obstructing it before. And
yeah.
that awareness, in and of itself, self organizes the quality of the mind. This reflects on the quality of your breath and your energy. It reflects upon the quality of your nervous system. And for a long time, I've heard other people use this, like Damo Mitchell and his stuff, like talks about that quality of awareness. The more that it's refined, it's like your awareness becomes like the magnet in the iron filings.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
I've always
think
loved that analogy too. Yeah. I
when I
love
was talking about self-organizing before, my mind went to like the things organize around your vision or whatever. And that was kind of, I should have gone for the iron filings
yeah.
analogy. That's a better analogy. Is that when that magnet is placed wherever the attention is, you have the awareness looking back in the mind. The mind goes, ooh, and you put a little bit, as soon as that quality, if the quality of your mind is still busy and stressed and distorted, you put some attention in the body, and the body distorts and goes, ugh, and it's aggravating. And just even trying to do that with my mind a little bit there, it's like, eh.
Yeah, it feels
But
wrong.
as soon as it's just, oh, aware, as soon as awareness interacts with different layers or subtle layers of the body or the body itself, well, the body just releases, and then just peace arises,
Yeah,
stillness comes,
yeah.
and you're not doing anything. It's just, that is
Just
what was always there that you were obstructing.
yep, yep, yep. And
Ah.
that's it's listening, overlooking. It's
Mhm.
much
Yeah,
one
it's
good way to describe that.
those subtle things that yeah, words are interesting because there are some ways to make the words work, but it definitely takes experiencing them
Yeah,
to, again, like, undo that knot or find the edge of the sticky tape and go, oh wow, and you stop thinking about the word or having it as a label, and actually recognizing that it's living, it's alive, that the practice is very alive. And I think that Andy would agree, and that you would agree. And Lydia, if you're listening, feel free to drop any questions in the comments,
Yeah, I
because
have
we.
a question. So I
Oh,
can
for
drop it in the
sure.
comments? Okay.
Oh, well, you can, if your audio's on, feel free to just ask, join in.
It's on. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, my question is, so can these like uh can a nervous system dysregulation and these like contractions, can they cause mental illness?
They basically are why mental illness can exist. When we talk about that distortion of the perceptual lens, that distortion, that clinging and that contraction around the way we are perceiving ourselves, that distortion of the mind is mental illness,
yeah.
basically.
You know,
So
if
the more
oh,
distorted the lens, the more distorted our view, our perception, and the quality of our thoughts and everything. Join
yeah,
in.
and another thing with with those more forceful practices like Wim Hof, Kundalini, is you're getting better and better at basically stressing your system out, and that's, if that's part of what you're asking as well, if those kinds of practices can cause or make mental illness worse, your whatever you give your attention to grows, right? It becomes more
Yes.
awareness. So, those kinds of practices make you more aware of the, I don't, it's hard. I don't like saying the wrong thing, but for what we're doing, it's the wrong thing, and the wrong thing grows, right?
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of the main reasons why I love this so much and why I got into it. Like, I was the same sort of thing. Like, with early on in my development, like, even when I had experience with some of the practices that I know worked, I was an avid learner. I'm a dabbler. I'm like an explorer by nature. Like, I was one of those kids who had entire volumes of encyclopedias and would just like learn everything in them and just be like soaking in information. It's like, how does this work? How does this work? How, there's a little bit of that obsession there. And when I got into, okay, how does Christianity like actually work? When you step back from the dogma of religion and go, okay, as a practice, like, how does it work? I want to know how it works, right? Like, if someone's going to have an experience of the divine from whatever lens, and this is something I've learned that's I don't know if I mentioned it to Lydia particularly, but it's like all religions, that's the waves on the surface. It's like looking in from the outside. All religions were really a practice. They were a way of living, a way of practicing, a way of embodying, living from that spark. Like, God cannot leave us, the divine cannot leave us. Like, how are we alive? How are we living, right? Like, what is the life in me? That life in me is sourced from the eternal source. And our thoughts about it, that distortion of our perceptual lens, distorts it. And it distorts the way that our mind is filtering reality. And it distorts, like, as soon as the mind is distorted, my nerves distort, my fascia distorts. So it's like my mind, if my mind is like this posturally, example, like it's aggravated, it's obsessed, right? If I'm anxious, my mind is like, when we talk about softening the eyes, right? A lot of people live like this, right? If I get into my like comedic, how I like react to my children and stuff kind of way, it's like we don't want to live like all twisted up, right? Like a hag in the woods or whatever. You want to notice like, oh, why am I, like, people do that when they're holding their phones, right? They live like this. And
Yeah.
that's happening to your mind. It's feeding back from the body to the energy to the mind, ugh, and obstructing you, adding layers of obstruction and distortion. And we want to notice on all these layers, oh, I'm going to soften my mind by softening my eyes, by softening my jaw, by softening my ears. And
And
notice
then
my
the
body just
become yeah,
opened. What's
yeah.
that, Ryan?
Those two things become the same thing too. You know,
Yeah, and it just spreads. Eventually, it's like those are ways to identify and get to know, but eventually it's just releasing, everything releases. And this is kind of what we were saying earlier is at first you train, oh, I train releasing my shoulders, releasing my different areas of my body, releasing my hips and my legs, and all of those can have an impact. Like if I release my hips and my waist and my legs, oh, there's a lot of like settling and stability that can come from that. If I release my torso and my all the tissues around my breath, oh, I can breathe better. My If I release my chest, oh, my heart has more room. Like there's all of these things that in maybe in other modalities like cranial sacral and some other bodywork things, like there's an investigation of, oh, this area of the body, when we open up the tissues, release the fascia, there's these kind of emotions that release that you were holding on. Again, if people are living in like grief, like depression, this is like depression. Like I'm slack. I'm like, ugh, collapsed. And the chi becomes like that. The mind becomes like that. Right. And if we're angry all the time, we're living like that. And this whole practice of dissolve is using whatever those tools are we're using to notice in our daily life for like, oh, like I get a little stressed out. Okay, how am I getting back into balance? I'm getting my awareness to come back into harmony with everything and allowing everything to release and organize around that central point or that quality of emptiness, that quality of awareness. Bam, and I'm back at peace. And that's the non-doing, right? I've just released.
that's
But
it.
at first that's challenging for people. So
It is.
you give them ways to investigate.
Yeah, I mean,
You give
it
them the
is really
practices.
challenging for people because, one of the toughest things, um, especially coming from, America, the West, when we learn something, we want to know what to do, right?
Mm,
And a lot of what we do is learning what not to do and just be like,
yeah.
you don't need to do that. Just like, you can just release. Like release feels like this. Like this is what it is. This is how don't make it into too many other things, and we want to do that. We want to intellectualize everything, and that's what makes it super tough for a lot of people, I think. That's why one of my favorite demonstrations that, Andy does is the fist, like,
Yeah.
and what and what the mind does when you let it go, right? And like, just once you notice that and, okay, that's the quality, like, it'll just go deeper and to different places and, yeah, I mean, you get what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, that's often why I use the softening the eyes thing, just
yeah,
because of the fact that it's so close to this area, and that eventually you do become very tangibly aware. I liked the example. I don't know if he does it in much of the content, but in the intensive that I was in with him one time, he was like, "Yeah, imagine a little yellow rubber ducky," and like, and that the little yellow rubber ducky always stuck with me. But it could be anything.
yeah,
That if you hold on with something in the mind, your quality of awareness, the quality of your mind itself goes
yeah.
around here. And if you ever notice like a song in the back of your head, we even say, I find it fascinating that we have language for people that are like down to earth or really floaty and spacious or like whatever. And back of the head, something you've put on the back burner, right? Back here is where the contraction, the subtle holding unconsciously of like a thought pattern that's just stewing back there. We even say stewing, like something stewing that back on the back burner, but it's back here. And like if you're consciously thinking and ruminating about something, it's up here. And you can feel that the awareness is tightened and that this area is tightening. So if you imagine the word thinking, 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 and make it really clear, like your whole brow, even not in a way that you're physically scrunching, but your mind and therefore the nervous system and the very subtle aspects of your connective tissue are all like in a little vice. And then when you let that go, you stop doing that. Just like when you make a fist, you're doing that. And you might be unconscious, you might be angry sometimes and be like, no, 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 no. And then when you start to let that anger fizzle away, oh, why am I doing that? I'm like white knuckle. Why am I doing that? And then
Yeah.
you let it go. You stop doing that. Even if you were unconscious about it, it was subconscious, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So the whole investigation of release is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And letting it go, letting it go, letting
Yeah.
it go.
That's one of the easiest ways I think to get people interested as well is the emotional stability that comes from this kind of stuff is it's to a lot of people it's almost inhuman like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
people just live in their and you start to realize these contractions are kind of if you can let them go, your emotions, you know, those get better, and you just become more stable, more integrated,
yeah.
so
And oh, there's a whole conversation around that level of equanimity. And at the very least, being able to consistently return to it. Like, it's not like you're invulnerable to feelings and emotions anymore. You still have feelings, you still can have emotion or or get stressed or something. But the impact it has on you, the level of contraction it creates, and how you go, oh, I'm contracting. And you either return to balance with such ease and clarity, right? Like, oh, I was a little stressed out, or oh, why am I thinking that way about that thing? And you notice that you were thinking about that thing, and the main tangible thing that made you aware is, oh, there's this contraction there.
yep,
Oh, if I release that contraction, that thought just dissolves.
yep,
And you might have been identifying like with that thing, like, oh, this person did something to me, or like, oh, this thing in the past, or oh,
yep,
what about the future? And you recognize your sense of self was in trying to entangle with it.
yeah,
And
and
you,
that's
as soon as you release, that
yeah,
connection dissolves. You come back to what you actually are.
yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of this, right? Is we don't have to spend so much time, going back and like I feel this way because of this, my psychology is this way because of that.
Yeah.
Um,
The
if you can
story.
release, yeah, if you release, you can have those, those thoughts can, those memories can come in your head, and you're just released anyway, So like, why, why process, why go through that extra step of, creating more reasons, more intellectual thoughts about this thing when you can just, like the release, the nervous system, we feel everything there. And, you know, this practice it affect or directly affects the nervous system. And, so the emotions, you can have any thought, anything come in and you're just like, oh, release, you're good. Like,
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing how instant it becomes. As
yeah,
soon as you get the practice down and you integrate it into your life, it's like, oh, like I just remember again, I think it was one of the intensive, like after we were doing the body work and like Andy like released my brain, like we're lying on the floor and like just like pressed like into an eardrum and I'm like, like bloof. And just like my mind became just utterly spacious and he was giving us just the transmission of being around him and just practicing with a big group of people for an extended period of time. it's like that first really clear experience of your mind is so spacious and empty and amazingly blissful that just the barely present seed of a thought is like coming from like miles away, it
Yeah,
seems,
yeah,
and you're incredibly aware of it, but you're feeling so swell that it's just like nah.
yeah. And it's
And
beyond
it's great.
psychological distance, right? Like it's
Yeah,
when you have these things happen, it I don't know how it's impossible to describe, but it feels like it's almost literally like somewhere,
yeah,
like so
yeah,
far away. And that's the difficulty of explaining the profundity. That's just another reason it's so difficult to explain the profundity and how deep this goes because it appears so simple on the surface. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
we could go on and on about how crazy it gets.
Yeah, that's why I like this kind of conversation, is that we're going beyond like, oh, we're just letting go, to like, okay, when you let go, like there's the nuance and the depth of it comes within your own experience of it. And some of that stuff is in a way very difficult to describe, or the description only goes so far until someone else experiences of it. But yeah, in the same way I was speaking about, okay, you can recognize that there's this layer of physical vitality, like the physical prana, and like and nourishing that and opening the body can do a lot, and saturating into the body and allowing that fullness to come in the body has so many benefits. And then you don't want to be obsessed with that, and you want to become more refined. And then all of a sudden, that deep peace, it's not like you're trying to open your heart or trying to be happy and joyful. It's just that as you release and it goes deeper, oh, it goes to this more subtle area, and your heart just becomes very, very peaceful. And your heart becomes less bleh,
yeah,
burdens that weigh on me and all my emotions and my trauma, and just it becomes buoyant.
yep,
You become emotionally buoyant and more tranquil, more stable. Everything becomes like, even if there's stress, it's like the stress, instead of it being like stress, it's gotten to me. It's like, oh, the stress is like on the surface, and you
yeah,
just allow it to melt off of you, and it's like, okay, cool. The peace is always, I come right back to that deep peace. And then
yeah,
there's this layer of the mind. You can recognize that there are literal areas of the mind that constrict, contract, and hold certain things. So when we're talking about that spaciousness and that awareness of, literally, I remember that there was a seed of a thought, and it was like way off over here, like
yep.
way over there. But because my
Before
mind,
you formulate it into a concept. Yeah,
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 exactly. And that's, you could say that's a subtle layer of my mind, like filtering it into a spatial recognition, because that's the way perception works, is it gives you something for feedback,
yeah,
right? Just like when you do a skeleton meditation, like you do it enough and you start to see, you're not imagining your bones. But when you put your mind in your body enough, it's like there's a radar like quality, and
radar.
you will see your insides,
Yeah,
right? There's that clear seeing from that listening skill. It becomes radar like, and it's just like, oh, yeah, there's my skeleton. And your mind will give you that feedback of like, there it is. I can see my own bones or my nerves or something like that. It's
yeah. I remember
very,
before I started training, I had no clue where my bones were. I still remember that. I had no idea. Um,
yeah,
and a lot of people don't. And that's I the importance of the skeleton has always been big for me specifically because I had scoliosis and all that, and it's
yeah,
gotten way better since training. But yeah, knowing where being able to look and use that radar, that lidar or whatever you want to call it
mhm,
to see, have your awareness show you rather than you looking. Um,
yeah,
because if
yeah,
you're looking, uh, it's probably not entirely correct. So,
mhm,
uh, but yeah, and the skeleton's it's a big one because nervous system runs completely through your spine.
yeah.
So I
The
love
tree is,
that C stretch with Andy and all that. It's
yeah,
great, good stuff.
yeah. So deceptively simple. The shapes like people use, like that is a big thing when people have done, when they've done enough training or enough physical activity, particularly, or they've done enough yoga, or the people who have learned a lot of anatomy and physiology. Like it's sometimes tricky for those people to go, oh yeah, like I know where my muscles are, I know what their names are, and like their mind, when it starts to become aware of the body, will start to analyze and be like, oh yeah, this muscle's doing this thing, or all the stuff, or like, oh, what we're doing this forward bend, like I've done that forward bend, like I'm gonna do it like I did it, and we're like, whoa, wait, slow down, absorb into this vertebrae, and we'll find that quality of release, and it changes the entire experience of
Yeah.
it.
And
And like,
eventually, it literally changes your skeleton too. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
you
and that's just
literally start to open, and a lot of people don't realize that because it sounds crazy, right? To people that don't understand, don't have this experience, it sounds completely crazy. The sentence "make more space in your joints." That sounds weird, but
yeah.
that literally happens. Like my body has changed massively, like a huge, like the shape of it. My rib cage is wider.
Mhm.
There's I've gotten taller, and all that comes with release because it comes from the nerve relief. Sorry, because it comes from the nerves. Just
Yeah, everything just yeah, one of those things like I was doing with my arms before. I absolutely love in the dissolve yoga. It's my favorite thing to do. The robot arms, that just when you, instead of just trying to lift your arms, oh, and like I don't know if you've explored it, because I don't know if you've done.
yeah, I don't have the course yet. I
Yeah,
really
yeah, I know exactly. So it's like one of those things that you would get a ton out of, that's just so simple, is like in a lot of the postures, there's this raising of the arms. Like if I'm going to go into like a chair posture, I'm sliding the bones in my arms to rise. As I'm bending my knees, I'm sliding my leg bones down, and I'm sliding my arm bones up, and then my spine slides through
yep.
my body, which takes a lot. It takes some getting your body to become, malleable plastic, and to have that coherence of the mind and body happening through release. But at this point, for me, it's like if I want to open my spine, and like about the connection of the hands to the body and whatever. So it's like if my mind is released and my awareness is just touching my body, as soon as I open my hands and like ah oh, my spine opens.
Yep.
And so as my hands are moving, my spine's going to, and then at the most open of that posture, it's like everything is just being like, even as I'm saying that, it's like, and then I
Yeah,
just,
I mean it's pretty similar to well, I'm not completely sure, but it sounds like it's pretty similar to the late beginner, early intermediate sort of stages of Tai Chi, like
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's equivalent to Pong, but
yeah,
it's like it's yeah, it's Pong adjacent, like it's
yeah,
it's it's that it's because the flesh and the bone are released from one another, so that there is that differential occurring, and it's just the ease with which it's accessed once your body's capable of it. In Tai Chi, it's like there's like so many parts to it, and like more
I mean
effort
it's
applied
university level
to it.
stuff. Let's be
And
real.
it's really the emphasis on like sinking that makes it difficult. We're not as focused on that building of the pressure and like the intensity of it on the flesh. That focus of sliding the bones through the flesh, well, it just comes with like a quality of more ease, I would say, once you have access to that level. But it's like in the meantime, the posture acts to tease the flesh off the bones, which that whole process is always immensely helpful, because the nerves are getting opened up, the flesh is stretching, the fascia is becoming elastic, and you're getting that whole body integration and connection going on. And then it's just like once the bones and the flesh become mobile from each other, whoa, the way your spine and your bones can just slide through the flesh is just like
I mean that's one of the biggest
stupid.
that's one of the biggest parts of the I Ching Jing process, right? I mean it's huge.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Skeleton stays up, flesh slides, sinks.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah. It's like the back door to the Ejin.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
from focusing on like the prerequisite to it. And that's like when it comes down to all that stuff, like I got the question the other day in my email, like, oh, why is it in Dissolve a focus? Like, why is there a focus on yoga rather than Qigong and Tai Chi? And it's like, it's not that we're not focused on Qigong or Tai Chi. We're just, or the yoga really. It's just like whatever tool can help with your body in a way that applies to you and that you enjoy is excellent, but we're
yeah,
looking at how that works. Like, what
yeah,
is the prerequisite to that? We're focused on the prerequisite. Like, instead of focusing on how do you build chi, or how do you connect with spirit, or how do you empty the mind, or how do you open your heart, or how do you
it's
get really
simple.
peaceful and still, whatever that is. It's like, oh, we're going to look at the underlying thing that allows all of that to happen. It's
Yeah,
like we're looking at the roots of, it's like, oh, you want that beautiful blossoming flower that like smells really nice? All right, let's like have really good soil, put the seed in the soil, water the soil,
yeah,
and
and
then it grows. It
yeah,
grows. It
yeah, and
grows.
like obviously the I Ching Jing goes way further than it goes. There's a lot more to it than that. That sliding of the flesh and stuff. But the cool part is, through this method, just the chi builds. It does eventually, and,
Mhm.
and um and the cool part is it goes to the right places. You
Yeah,
you fill from the right places, and you know,
that's that's the thing. Yeah, even with the methods that are real, authentic, and effective with Tai Chi or Qigong, because of the quality of people's minds,
yep,
if you're approaching it from the standpoint of a technique or a method, it can take a while to sort yourself out enough to apply that. And it's really the same with like religious practices or prayer, or just trying to feel okay enough to like people try to connect with God or like connect with something higher, and they're like, oh, but I feel so stressed out, I feel so horrible, I feel in so much pain. And so it's like they're reaching out, but you can't, like, the whole point of reaching out in that way is to let go of yourself, who you think you are, the thing that's in the way of you and the divine.
yep,
So a bit of a reorientation for some, which there's a whole
say
conversation
both.
of like, is yeah, is God something higher or separate? Like, there's a reason that they talk about that in terms of something higher, but that higher is that the same thing. It's we're moving towards the source of something. It's something that is constant, that is refined, that is true, and that thing is also the source of you, that will never leave you.
Yep,
That if you get out of the way, what you're doing in prayer is surrendering yourself to that.
yep,
And how do you surrender? How do you? It's not like God gives you peace. Peace is what arises, which allows you to see, oh wow, the source is with me,
yep,
God is with me,
yep.
God. Right? It's not like there's a whole the new age obsession with like I am God or I am the divine and whatever, and it's like you got to get
Yeah,
that you got to
true,
get that
but
I thing
not
out of the way.
in the way that yeah,
Yeah,
not in
exactly.
the
that
way.
that becomes a lot of like egoic obsession
Yeah,
very easily. And it's like all of that is out of the way, where it's like, what's the point of like union? Like in the Christian traditions, they talk about union. There's a lot of Greek words for it or whatever, theosis and whatnot. But like in Orthodoxy and other layers of Christianity, they talk about like union with the Ruach and Energia and all of these things that are leading someone through prayer and through contemplation to recognize, like, some of the saints and the mystics talk about like burning in silence, right?
yeah.
That
I
when
like
you,
absorption.
yeah,
Like,
like exactly,
yeah,
absorption, that when you are absorbed, like letting go of what is false, right? Release of sin, repentance is okay, this isn't true. This isn't true. I'm going to not do what leads me astray. I'm going to not do what I'm clinging and contracting to and where my desire leads me. I'm going to release, surrender continually, continually. Come back to what is true. Come back to what is good and true and beautiful, right? Continually till there's nothing left between you and that truth, so that it burns away and reforms, and it's transfiguration, the recognition of the essence of Christ is that, oh wow, Christ is the essence of all life. that life is in me and you and everything. It is the source of everything, and it transforms your mind, it transforms your energy, it transforms your body, right? So communion.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
need to eat of it. You need to taste the blood in the flesh of Christ, they would say, and become the blood in the flesh of Christ. So you
yeah.
can see through the eyes, experience through the breath and the body of Christ. And then it's like, oh, wow, all of my sin was just
Our body,
missing the mark.
our body is a temple. Yeah, we don't actually have to go to church. Our
Mhm.
body is a temple.
Yeah.
And what I've observed in Christianity is a lot of Christians, they believe that we're supposed to have peace as Christians, but they don't have peace. They don't have peace. A lot of them have anxiety,
Mhm.
a lot of them like have fear, and like they're feeding their minds too much information. And I heard somebody say that like too much information can actually cause inflammation. And also Christians think, oh, I can just eat junk food and like God will heal me, blah blah blah, but it doesn't work like that. I also wanted to ask, can dissolve therapy help people lose weight? Because I feel like it will, from what I'm getting, is that it lowers cortisol, and people who are have high cortisol can't lose weight.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
sure.
huge thing. Like, what you gonna say,
Oh,
Ryan?
I was gonna say, like, I mean, it does have effects on hormones. Jordan might have a better answer for this, because I mean, obviously stress affects hormones. Hormones is
Yes.
your body processes things. So that regulation of things, I would imagine, could help people. I'm not a doctor, so like, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
make any big claims, but it stands to reason for me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really a focus we have on balance, like that self-organization, that quality of coherence and harmony, and the regulation of the nervous system. There's going to be so much less cortisol, so much better sleep, so much more of an ability for, like, all that we were talking about with that, the less effortful and contracted approach to everything, including your movement and exercise and your willpower. Something I used to suffer with a lot, like in my early practice. It's like, I got to try so hard to like eat right or to do my practice or to exercise, that someone who has had chronic health conditions like that have been helped immensely by all this, was that as I released the contraction around my craving and aversion, like, I really want this, or no, I can't have that, you release that, and then it releases the decision fatigue of
Yep.
like, I gotta try to do what's good. You're just like so at peace about it, that for one, if you eat something that's not perfect, your body stops reacting to it nearly as much, but it's so natural to do what is better
Yep.
because you are aware of the impact on your body at such a subtle level. Like, it becomes profound when you take an herb, like, people say chamomile tea is relaxing, but have you ever experienced the energy or the effect of that tangibly on your nervous system, where you drink some chamomile tea or like a really good herb that's calming, or a smell, like when you're dissolving and you smell a rose or a lilac, it just disperses through your whole system like ink into paper. So instead of it being nice on the surface, it has this deep, profound, like transformative effect on you, and just makes you go deeper into that absorption process. And he always talks about, like, he nibbles on chocolate and he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And he's
yeah.
all into like, make the breath like melting butter, like make your whole connection of mind and body like beautiful melting chocolate, like warm honey, so everything becomes enjoyable, and you become able to enjoy like just simple food, simple movement, exercise. Everything leads you deeper into that, and that is without obsession. It's going to help regulate you, and maybe you won't be obsessed about like, I gotta have a six pack, I gotta be like, super fit, because maybe that's not super necessary unless
Yeah.
that feels really natural to you, or that's your body type, but your body type will start to reflect how your body type should be, in my
Yeah, Jordan,
experience.
you know what I used to look like. I was a bodybuilder for a while. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I was shredded.
yeah.
But it was never that was never why I did it really. It was for health, but there's a new and more profound and robust kind of health that comes from these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so, the difference between health and athletic fitness, there is a difference. You can have
Yeah.
one without the other.
Yeah,
But
and you want to find that balance for you. Like, not everyone needs to be a high level athlete or be shredded. Some people might more easily fit that, or like somebody who runs a lot. You're gonna get a runner's body. Something that uh, internal arts folks talk about is like, I know Damo talks a lot about it, and Andy's. It's like you're gonna develop the body for what you do. So if you want, like, if you do a lot of yoga and some qigong, you're going to have a qigong sort of that body. If you meditate a lot, you're going to develop a meditation body, you know. And if you do other things a lot, you're going to develop a body that reflects that, that's made for that. So it's like, what is your life? What do you want to do? And what do you enjoy? And the more you live in a balanced, healthy way, you can add as much exercise, fitness, different elements to that you need to create strength. Like, we really focus on just becoming just strong enough to release, to let go, strong enough to be healthy, strong enough to feel balanced. Like, if for most people, I know for sure being super shredded doesn't feel great. And like, I used to look more like athletic at certain parts of my life. I didn't feel that great.
yeah, no, being at 8% body fat does not feel good. It does
No,
not. No.
no, like,
Uh,
you
yeah,
you always have this like low key tension and just like,
yeah,
whereas if you nourish yourself and you're nourished and you're stable, and
yeah,
the energy, the vitality that you have isn't this like overstimulated, like, gotta do all the healthy things. That's overstimulating and kind of exhausting, and it won't last into old age.
yep. No,
The
it will
sort of
not.
deeply nourished with a strong foundation, which I can move, I can lift my body weight, I can, like, I'm spry, I'm elastic, that elastic quality in the fascia we talk about. And then, yeah, like, move enough to be able to do the things you want to do and feel good in your body. That's the primary. And then
Yeah,
however much you want to push that,
and
it's up to you.
like
So,
with Tai Chi, the body, if you're developing the Tai Chi body, right? If you have Pong, if you actually have Pong, you cannot look shredded. It's not,
yeah.
you're not going to.
Yeah, there's too much thickness and robustness
Yeah.
in the fascia.
Yeah. I mean, so all those little, uh, I don't know, all those lines and stuff that you have, those definition,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
going to have that anymore. But the health that comes from that is robust. It's resilient. It's a resilient health, if that makes sense. And
yeah, and it will last into old age.
that's kind of what I meant there.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
great with words sometimes, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting approach, which not everybody has to go that deep into those things. Um, but yeah, it's a different approach to shaping and transforming the body and to health in general. It's like letting go of the obsession. Like, sometimes the obsession over health can be detrimental to the process of healing, which it's like I've found a lot. Yeah, especially with like autoimmune conditions, or again, the nervous system regulation stuff. If you're very dysregulated, high cortisol, really stressed out, like, mind feels like just busy and just overwhelmed. A huge thing is, like, in that state, you're trying to, like, look for problems, like, look for the thing that's going to help. And I've been there, like, looking for, like, is this thing going to help, is this thing going to help, like, where's the solution, what's going to heal me, what's going to work. And you're like, you want it to be fixed so bad. And that desire to fix, that desire to be, oh, I want to be better, letting go of that in and of itself makes you better, like, immediately. It makes your health finally just start to arise naturally and become nourished, because you're in a state, you're developing the conditions to become nourished
Yep.
by letting go of that obsession. And then like, oh, this helps me sleep better. Sleeping better is good. Oh, I'm just gonna, like, drink water and, like, eat real food because that's good. That feels good. It supports this process.
Yeah,
Right?
and release feels good, even if it's just like I think Andy talks about even just 1%.
Mhm.
It's still better, and like eventually, for me anyway, I noticed that the biggest pleasure is relief for me. Like a lot
Yeah.
of it is just the letting go, the releasing of a burden,
Mm-mm.
and finding enjoyment makes you want to do these things, makes you because it helps you release more, have more enjoyment. So the training becomes pretty natural at some point. It's yeah,
Yeah.
good
Yeah, it
stuff.
becomes a natural feedback loop that just everything feeds back into that because it becomes so enjoyable that you're like, oh, like if I don't move well or like sleep well or like eat decently and that like it's I can feel it dragging on me or causing certain level of distress in my body. It's like, oh, that's not nice. I would rather release more deeply and notice the things that are in the way of that and also release them and nourish myself. And
Yeah, I remember, we were talking about the more, sort of forceful, practices. And, I had built, quite a bit of chi, doing something. I'll never forget the first time I had a slice of pizza after. Dude, I felt terrible. But,
yeah.
you start to, it just becomes more natural, to, want the, you know, quote unquote healthy things. But you're not afraid to enjoy something either, once
Yeah.
in a while. You know,
Mhm.
live a little. It's fine. You
Yep.
know,
Yep. You have more of a buffer for those things.
more awareness of what's actually going on, and um, you can compensate if needed. You can clear out if needed. All that stuff becomes pretty clear, pretty intuitive. So
Hmm. Yeah, Lydia, let us know if you have any more questions.
yeah, it's been
It's
a
been
minute now.
fun. It's been a while. Yeah,
Uh,
we'll probably head out soon, but
yeah, I was gonna say like the announcement in your announcement it said 4:30 a.m. till 5:30 a.m. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I don't know what was with
I'm not.
something about the timing. I noticed the live button when I think that the website glitched or the timing glitched because I went and I chose the right time and it said the AM instead of the PM. And then the live button went on. I think the site might have been weird today. I'm not sure. A couple people were like, "Oh, it said this instead of this," and I went back and checked and corrected it. And then I looked at it a half an hour early, and it said that the live call was on, but it wasn't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. I'm trying to.
Yeah, because if you didn't message me, I wouldn't have showed up. I got an email
Yeah, yeah,
saying that you sent me a message saying you're going live in 30 minutes. So I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah. That's why I sent the email. I was just in case some people didn't see it
Yeah.
because I made a post about it like sometime in the week, and I think I sent. Yeah, I'm not sure if that went out as an email, but I put a post about it. I notified a couple people in a couple different ways, and then I made a post and sent out some messages just short notice to people in case they hadn't seen those things. But I'm trying to maintain a bit more of a schedule coming into the new year so that people know ahead of time. Oh, like on Sundays for an hour, I'll do a little check in and a hangout at some point during the week, like on a Wednesday and a Friday. I'm experimenting with what times work the best for people. But I think I'll do some classes on Wednesday and Friday evenings and seeing how that time works for people and seeing what the best time is. But then I want to try to stick, as I find what times works, try to stick to a fairly consistent schedule for a while, so people know ahead of time. Yeah, it's a bit difficult when it's sporadic to let people know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, awesome.
especially if the website glitches out and says the wrong time or something.
Well, heck,
Usually that stuff's working out though.
sweet.
Cool.
Hey, this went
Good
well.
combo. Good combo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey, yeah. Anything else, Lydia? We're all good. We're all
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
right on.
And like my Facebook is completely public. So if you wanted to add, like I'm always happy to talk shop. So you can add me on there or whatever if you want. If not, that's fine too. But yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
you're both on the community. Uh, yeah, look up each other on Facebook if you ever want to chat. And yeah, it's a good conversation.
Thank,
Seems like that'll be all.
thank you.
Good to meet you, Olivia.
Yeah, right on. Good times.
Cool.
Okay, everybody have a good day. Ryan, we'll chat again soon.
Good man.
Yeah. All right. Take care, Lydia. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, take care, guys. Bye.
Right. Cheers.